Hello and good morning. It's Alan Milstein, Chairman of the Residential Property Surveyors Association. So today I wanted to give you a bit of an update on what's been happening in and around the house buying and selling industry, give you a few updates on what's happening with the RPSA. Apologise for the untidy background and also the COVID curls, which do seem to have got a little bit out of control. But hey, there's worse things that happen at sea. So what's been happening in the market? Well, I don't know about you, but my phone has been ringing off the hook. It's been really, really busy. We seem to be having a lot of survey instructions coming through. And it's not just me, we're finding it through the RPSA panel as well. A lot of interest going on. Talking around to the market in general and some of our industry contacts, what people seem to be saying is that volumes are very, very strong at the moment. Uh, if you talk to, for instance, estate agents, they are all reporting a lot of activity, a lot of offers, uh, plenty going on. As usual, there's a shortage of stock coming onto the market. So, of course, that does hamper things. And what about prices? Well, of course, we heard lots and lots of things going on in the press about how prices were going to collapse through the floor and that it was the end of the world as we knew it. It hasn't happened, funnily enough. Well, there you go. There's the thing. What has happened to prices? Well, I think the general view that I'm seem to be getting from people is that prices have remained pretty stable. Most estate agents seem to be saying that they're achieving asking price or maybe even a little bit above, but there's not a big collapse in prices. Now, there might be a few sort of places in London, for example, where prices have dropped a little bit, but overall, I think that it's a very optimistic picture and that things are looking pretty good at the moment. But what of the future? Well, again, it depends who you talk to. And if you talk to 10 different experts, you'll get 10 different expert opinions, all saying something very different. The overall view seems to be that if there is going to be a correction in the market, a downturn, then it's likely to be in around October time. Why then? Well, that's because furlough scheme will be ending then. And when people have to go back to work, that's when their jobs are probably going to be most at risk. So if we are going to see a change, then it's going to happen probably around then. The other thing that we've been seeing in the market is that some of the lenders are getting a little less generous. So whereas before we were seeing 95% loan to value mortgages, some of the lenders, and I think Nationwide made an announcement last week saying that they were going to restrict loans to around 85% of loan to value. The reality, I believe, is that what they really meant is around 80% loan to value. And what's the effect of that? Well, of course, if a first-time buyer suddenly has to find 20% deposit as opposed to 5 or 10% deposit, then of course that's going to make a big difference. And that's going to affect new people coming into the market, which of course then affects the whole market going upwards. We don't know if all the lenders are going to follow suit, but some may. The other thing that we're seeing, and perhaps the reason why they're acting that way, is on valuation. And I think that valuers, not known for being a cavalier in their approach, they are generally very cautious. And what they're doing is they're saying, well, actually, we don't know any better than anybody else either, so let's be cautious. And of course, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because if the valuers are down valuing because they don't have the confidence in the market staying strong, then that will affect the market and the market won't be strong and it will push down the market. So it's quite a volatile situation at the moment and we're in very much uncharted territory. Nobody knows what's going on here and we're all flying by the seat of our pants. But hey, listen, let's make the most of it while we can and let's remain optimistic. You know, we're really, really motoring at the moment. There's a lot of survey instructions around. People are wanting surveys done quickly. We've got to be out there. We've got to be doing the job. The other thing that we saw, of course, prior to lockdown, And something that's continued during the lockdown is the rise in non-visit valuations. So that's where somebody isn't going into the property. So they might be doing a desktop valuation, they might be doing a drive-by, they might be doing an automated valuation on a desktop. So if more people are having valuations done without a visit to the property, what the lenders are doing is saying, well, hang on, our duty of care to our borrowers is that we make sure that they are going to get some good advice about the condition of their property. So they are putting more emphasis than ever on borrowers getting a condition survey done. Prior to lockdown, we were seeing quite a strong move through some of the big valuer panels coming to RPSA because they've got an increased demand for surveys, and particularly for building surveys, which they can't generally offer. So that was great for the RPSA panel. Now, of course, that sort of all came to a halt, but we do expect that that is going to come back on stream. Now, whether it's going to be this year or whether it's going to be next year, it's really difficult to tell. The need is still there. It hasn't gone away. People still need those surveys done. But I think that naturally, a lot of the big corporates are going to be more cautious at the moment. I mean, it's understandable. So it hasn't gone away. And don't worry, that work is going to come back. And we're going to start finding more and more demand for the services of the RPSA panel. So I think, it's a really, really positive picture, which is great. What else has been happening? Well, I think that one of the things that we were talking about at RPSA in the council was our conference. So if you recall, back in 2019, we were going to hold our conference in March, and we had the beast from the east, which scuppered everything. We reviewed it, and then we held the conference in June. It was a really successful conference. People liked the time of year, and I think it worked really well. Now, we had originally planned to have our conference for 2020 in June, and of course, no, we can't. So we had postponed it until end of September. Now, if we hold a conference at the end of September, that means now, June, when we're recording this, that we need to be doing all the organization. The trouble is that if we spend all that time and effort on that organization and then find we can't run it at the end of September, that will have been an awful lot of wasted work. So the RPSA Council took the decision that we would postpone our conference from 2020 and shift it into 2021. It will just be safer. At the end of the day, it's your money that we're playing with. And we don't want to waste that money on planning a conference that's never going to take place. So we're going to do the conference probably around June next year. And that gives us plenty of time to plan it and organize it. And we want to make it bigger and better and more exciting and interesting than ever before. So put the note in your diary sometime in June next year, and we'll update you with the dates as soon as we've got something organized. And look forward to that, because it's going to be a really, really good conference. There's lots of activity going on in and around the RPSA, and we've been really busy during the lockdown period with all sorts of things. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything about this particular issue, matter, event, but just to say, we've had some really, really interesting conversations. I'm not going to tell you who it's with, but they were really interesting conversations, and you will learn an awful lot from them. So those are going to be coming onto your screens fairly soon. You will hear about them, and I think you'll find it's really worthwhile. It will open your eyes. It certainly did me, and it certainly gave me a bit of insight into something which I didn't know anything about. So look forward to that, because that's going to be interesting. So I think that kind of wraps it up for the moment. I hope you're keeping well. I hope you're keeping busy. Just remember, if you want to find anything out, go to www.rpsa.org.uk. You could email me, chairman@rpsa.org.uk. I'll try and update you again with some more news in the very near future. But meanwhile, keep well, keep busy, keep safe, and we look forward to seeing you out and about fairly soon.